Welcome back to another trade recap. I made 2 RR, end up making money on Top Step, Alt Futures and My Fund of Futures. You'll see it on the screen here. Did not make enough as I should have. I lost out on so much money trading this day because my MacBook ended up freezing when I went to record my screen, but that's part of trading. Some stuff are going to happen like that you can't control. It's about how you react to them. Basically, what I was looking for on this day, I'm going to explain it. The bias for me was very simple. Not simple, but very obvious in my opinion, and I was only looking for one thing. We had this trend line we're forming to the downside right here. This trend line liquidity, as you can see. So I'm going to mark out all them lows in my chart. Then you put this on, so we had this low here, these lows here. I'm going to mark this one here, and then this low all the way down here. And these were my main draws on liquidity for the day. I was looking for some sort of position back down to them lows. If I look at price right here, price ends up opening and pushing down to the downside right here. I did think we're going to dump down and I wasn't going to get an entry because of how this candle closed. We ended up flipping back to the upside, and here is where I seen a very good reaction from a key level. When I go to the hourly, we have already tapped into this fair value gap right here. As you can see, end up respecting 50% of it right there and push back down to the downside. That for me means we don't need to resweep this high. This high right here can be a protected high on our position. We do not expect price to come back to that high, in my opinion, for this trade. I would not expect price to go back up there and resweep that. If it does, you can look for a trade back down. It would make the trade better. But for me, I was happy to take it without sweeping that high. It was a data high as well, but was not a very big candle. So I did not expect it to get swept. When I look here, we have an order block right here as well. So we have an order block right there getting formed. Let me mark that out, OB. As you can see, we tap right into that and reject. We also reject off this 1 minute fair value gap right here. So we're rejecting off an order block, a 1 minute fair value gap to the upside. We end up flipping and coming back down to the downside, as you can see here. I wanted one of these candles to go. Would have made a very nice V shape, but I had to end up waiting for my entry till this candle closed right here. We end up making SMT right here as well. So we had SMT on this position right here. So SMT in the 1 minute here. It's still SMT even though it is on the 1 minute time frame, and it's not the best SMT. Obviously you'd prefer like these highs here or something like that, but still very good in my opinion. That was my entry, and to put my stop somewhere here, there was a 30-second stop loss placement somewhere there. And that was my trade, very simply, going off this inverse right here. As you can see, put my stops a bit higher on this position, covering the fair value gap. And then it was just about TP levels. I got filled about here, and I took my position out right about here. I ended up getting 2R in this position. The issue was, as I said, I didn't get enough risk in on any of my accounts. I ended up holding alpha a little bit longer to get the money amount I wanted. It was like $500 per account, but on Top Step I made like only like 220 per on 4 accounts or 5 accounts, so was not great on this position. Consider my risk is a lot higher, but that's life. Sometimes that's going to happen in trading. As I've said, we did have technical difficulties. Obviously we're going break even at this low. I don't even need to remind you that if you watch all my recaps. If you haven't, then shame on you. There is where our break even is. As you can see, we end up coming down. You could have took some TP levels here. I end up holding, as I said, I only got logged in on my phone somewhere as price was down here. So I was trying to kind of add, didn't want to make my fill too high. End up adding on Top Step, and I got took out one of these wicks here because I was trailing a little bit, unfortunately. And then as you can see, prices ended up coming down and taking out all the lows and taking out the major low I had marked. So that was a very, very simple, easy trade in my personal opinion. I know obviously everyone didn't see this, but hopefully you can see now why, in my opinion, for how we trade. It was a very good setup. A lot of people in the free Discord took it. If you want the link to the free Discord, it is below. And that is the recap on how I made 2R in NASDAQ within half an hour. Very simple and quick. When you have a super strong bias like that, there's no confusion. It's just about waiting to get the good entry and entering in on the position. And that is the trade recap. Anyone has any questions about mentorship, DM me on Instagram as always. Free Discord link is below, and I'll see you on the next recap. Peace out.